I'm Ian Bear. I just joined these guys recently, and it's been nothing short of a great time.
hmm And I'm Casey Tyson-Pearce. I've been in the band since day one, so that's 13 and a half years now. And yeah, it's just, I love all these guys that we're with. Um, and yeah, for those who don't know, we are Angelmaker. Um, we just released a new song called Relinquish, and we got a lot more on the way.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Fantastic, guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank
thanks
you.
for having us.
No worries. Now, we'll get on to Relinquish shortly, but before that, Angelmaker are actually hitting Australia for the first time ever next February for a run of shows supporting Sylosis, starting in Perth on February the 11th, moving through Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and finishing in Brisbane on the 16th of February. So I suppose the first question is, guys, why have you neglected us for so long? 13 and a half years, and you've never been here.
Oh man, we've been trying. We've really been trying to come over to Australia, but just nothing has like really aligned for us necessarily. And we like just did our first European tour like a year and a half ago. So we've been working our way into more international markets. But for us, like we're Canadian, so it makes a lot more sense for us to just like tour in North America. But now we've got like a good foothold to actually make our way over there. We got this opportunity. We're like, there's no way we're saying no. We need to see koalas. We need to see kangaroos. Uh, yeah,
Need to drink Australian beer.
yeah, we need shoeys. We need to learn about shoeys.
You
I
guys,
don't even drink beer, but we
so
need
I
shoeys.
probably avoid the shoeies as much as I can. People talk about them like they're a good thing, but they're really not. Now, what's it like for you guys? Like, say you just done Europe for the first time too, but when you do a first tour like you're going to do to Australia, do you do a bit of research? So do you ask people what to expect, or do you rather come in cold and just take it as it comes?
Mhm.
I've been there. I was there X amount of years ago, so I'm kind of familiar. Had a great time. These gentlemen, I think they're just gonna kind of dive in head first and just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect necessarily. Like, I know we're going to be driving on the other side of the road, and a gas station is called Servo.
You
Uh,
have done your research.
and that's about it. That's all I feel like I need to know.
Pretty much all you need to know, mate. You're a natural
Yeah, I'll
Australian
learn on the
already.
fly.
What are you actually expecting from Australian crowds? Because we do things a little bit differently over here.
Ooh, I have no idea. All I've heard that Aussies are a wild bunch.
What on the other foot, guys? What can we expect from you?
Some damn good shows, some damn good music. Have a couple beers, couple hangouts. Just kind of enjoying ourselves and making sure everybody else enjoys their night, and maybe play some new stuff, some old stuff, and a fair amount of metal, I would imagine.
Yeah. I like to think of it as kind of like a dark circus act is what we're doing. So a whole bunch of monkey business on stage, and then pack up and go to the next place. And, traveling circus sort of business. Uh,
Then you're coming over as special guest of Stylosis, guys. So is there a bit of a relationship there, or did it just sort of come about through management?
kind of came about through management. We have never met any of the Sylosis guys yet, and even in that department, we don't know what to expect. But we're happy to be on a tour with them. It's pretty damn cool.
And they must like something about you because it'd obviously be a lot cheaper of them to get a band from Australia. So bringing you guys out here, they must see something in you that they like.
Yeah.
Now, your press release says that you play deathcore of the highest order, injected with blackened thrash, a smattering of power violence, and urgent ferocity of underground hardcore. Like, it sounds like you guys should come with a warning label. That sounds pretty fucking full on.
Oh yeah, and we're trying to get the whole mixed bag. Yeah.
So where does that sound come from, guys? Like it sounds like you've just sort of you plucked from the most vicious, violent, brutal core areas of the world you could.
Yeah. Many different inspirations for like where we've derived our sound. One of them's the Black Dahlia murder for sure. Job for a cowboy, cattle decap. Uh, Our guitarist Colton, he loves black metal, so he'll derive a lot of his inspiration for writing from black metal bands and just hardcore bands as well. He just likes the whole mix, and as he's writing, it just kind of comes out as it does. And yeah, that would be more of a question for him. I feel like he would be able to articulate how he'd write in that sense. But I'll take the parts from his songs, and if it just sounds like I should go more towards this like cryptic sort of Black Dahlia murder style vocal section, then I'll write a little bit more like that. Or if it's this like belligerent sort of like hardcore section, write a little more like that.
And sort of along those lines, like those bands that you mentioned that you sort of draw influence from, they're all heavyweights of the genre. So yourselves as a band, when you draw an influence from artists like that, like how hard is it these days to put your own spin on it and get your own sound? Because that sort of stuff's been done a lot over the years.
Oh yeah, it's quite saturated these days for what's happening, but we try to keep it as original as we possibly can. You know, sometimes you kind of look back and you're like, oh, that's actually been done before, but we're just writing. And like, I try to write for what is in my heart, put it out there. And sometimes it might be exactly what somebody else had written in their heart. And they might have to go back and change it.
Who would have thought there's two black hearts the same out there? Now, the press release. Oh, hang on, I missed that one. Sorry. Um, so this year, Angelmaker release. Sorry, you're welcome in, vocalist Ian, bro. So introduce yourself.
Yeah,
No, I'll leave you out of it. Casey, you introduce us to him and tell us what he brings to the band.
So I used to be in a band called Rings of Saturn for a while. I previously toured with these guys a couple times, and I've always enjoyed like the chaos of their music because there's 100 of them on stage basically, and it was just always crazy to see all the moving parts kind of come together in like a cohesive sound. And I think that because there are so many of us, that we're kind of able to have a unique sound like that. And the music that I had created prior to being in Angel Maker was also pretty unique. So it felt like a really good mesh, kind of just the puzzle piece kind of slapped into place there. Because we're all kind of a little out there. We all write a little crazy, and yeah, we're just meshing together really well, and everything's kind of snowballing really organically, and the music that we're creating together now is just it's fun. Like there's no everyone does their part just beautifully, and it just all comes together. And I'm very excited to release what we've been working on, more of what we've been working on, and to show everyone this kind of next step and where we're heading with it.
Wow. Right, yeah, well, that's your take on it. Now, Casey, you tell him the truth. What do you think he's brought to the band?
Oh, he's fired after this.
That's it. We're done. We had a good run. We had a good run then.
No, well, working with Ian is a blessing. Like this guy's a powerhouse of a vocalist. Like I'm in the studio while we're recording our record that's coming out and like relinquished our single, and I'm just like, oh my god, the whole time. Yeah, like what to expect for people. Bring a diaper because you might shit your pants.
Oh, that's great. Well, what's it like with I guess the dynamics between having two vocalists like yourselves in the same band, it'd be awesome on stage, but is it something you've got to work on separately? Like at rehearsal, do you just go just the two of you and work on that sort of dynamics and gelling together?
That's a good question. So it's a little interesting for what we have just written, because some of it had been like written before a little bit, and we had to like tweak a couple things. And it's like Ian had his chunk of songs, I had my chunk of songs, and we kind of like meshed them together and gave each other input on ideas to like really make them work for each other. And that's what we've been doing in the past. Just like we'll like come together with like a topic that we agree on for the song, and it's like one person writes their version, the other person writes theirs, and we try to like see if we can integrate them together in like patterns, which line sounds better, which array of words makes the most amount of sense, and things like that. But it was been a really interesting process for the both of us, and especially like Ian learning like what's been going on at the studio and how we strategize the vocals and play this like vocal leapfrog where it's like he'll do one line, I do the next, and then he'll do that one, and then we layer on this one, and then I start the next, and we try to write it so that there's the most amount of emphasis on certain parts, but also having a crazy onslaught of vocals that is almost not possible for one person to do. Some people have done it, but we try to strategize it so that we can, breathe.
Yeah.
I suppose here's one for you there, guys. Like, which one would it be harder for to adjust to? Like you coming into the band, Ian, as a new vocalist, or you as in having done it this way for so long and then having to integrate in with Ian?
For me personally, like I kind of went into it thinking having two vocalists would be more or less like, half the work, two of us, kind of split it up. But it's a lot more mentally challenging than people think. Because you're not only learning the songs and learning the patterns, but you also have to learn what to do and what not to do. So he's got his parts, I've got my parts, we've got both of us, we've got Colton who also does vocals. So it's just like a giant puzzle that you really have to learn how to navigate. It's a lot more complicated than I'm sure people anticipate or imagine.
You have to be really attentive to the cues, because if I think it's his line, but it's my line, all of a sudden there's a blank space, and then it just sounds weird. And some of the fans are like, "Whoa, you missed it!"
Hey, that'd be hard to come back from. Now, we mentioned your new song, Relinquish. It's only come out just recently, guys. So how's the early reception been to it?
Oh, it's been great. Good. Yeah, people have given us, it seems like nothing but positive feedback. I personally don't go through all the YouTube comments or whatever and comb through it, but the reactions seem to be just like really great.
Cool. And you did say before too, you mentioned new songs. So I'm taking it that means that's part of a new album cycle?
It might just mean that, yeah.
Possibly.
We'll have to wait and find out.
Well, just hypothetically, if it did mean that, what sort of direction is it going in? Is it what people would expect from Angelmaker, or is throwing a few curveballs?
That's a good question. I personally believe this record is still very Angelmaker, but more evolved.
Yeah.
It just feels more grown up,
There you go. See, and you've made him grown up, buddy. You've done well.
We're trying.
I suppose that the biggest question there, would fans of old Angelmaker stuff be happy with the new stuff?
I believe so. Even just from like my perspective, touring with them and knowing their music prior, like if I was just an outside listener, it's just as vicious, just as punishing. But yeah, everything's very dialed in. Everything's kind of like taking a little step up. Like we're all maturing as musicians, we're all maturing as people, and that's transcending into the music. But it is punishing. It's great.
So just say someone's come along to see Sylosis and they've inexplicably never heard of you guys. What 3 songs should they listen to on the way to the concert to get to know you better?
I'm going to say Leech first and foremost. That's just a given. We're going to say Hollow Heart. And probably a Dark Omen.
Yeah.
Good spread.
Cool.
Yeah, I would say 3.
No worries at all. Now, before we let you go, guys, I've got a new segment I've started called Photo Bomb, which basically means I've trolled through your social media before I've spoken here, and I've come up with a few old photos that I want to know a little bit more about. Now, I'm not sure if it's you in this one or not, Ian, but that there, like, I want to know what's the dynamics like on stage when you're playing live and you got 2 vocalists out the front having a great time like that and getting right into it. It must be pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like I obviously can't hear it like from when I'm out there, but listening back to videos and whatnot, it definitely sounds a lot larger, just like so inhuman when you layer like a low and a high live. And then we have like our guitarist Colton, who also does vocals, and when all three of us go together, it's just intense. The lot.
It even look like
But
there's not many times you can look at a picture and you can feel intensity, but you look at that and it's just like, fuck me. That's awesome.
yeah,
I found this one too. I'm not sure if this is anyone in the band, but whoever it is, he's having a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh,
yeah, that's our other guitarist Johnny. He's riding a little handicap scooter
Out of the way.
in our hometown. And what were we doing? This was just like after a local show, and we're just hanging out, drinking some beers or whatever is going on. And we've got the drummer of Carcosa there, that which is Johnny's other band. Travis is the drummer, but he's also on this tour now with us. He's drumming for Spite,
Right.
and Travis is taking these photos, and he's riding his scooter, just like grinding the rails, doing all these tricks because he's like I wouldn't say he's a pro scooterer, but he's damn good at it. And Johnny's here just trying to close in the gap of the scooter skills.
It doesn't look like it's got any brakes. How did he stop that night?
No, that's why it was given to us.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, guys. And one final thing before you go to, like, I know it's going to be a long way down the track, but when one day when you do decide to call an end to your career, what do you hope the inscription would be on your musical tombstone?
they did it.
yeah.
Those crazy fuckers did it.
Very good. All right, guys. Well, I've got to let you go now, but thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure. Angelmaker will be out in Australia with Sylosis next February. The new single Relinquish is out now. There may or may not be more new music coming out soon, but we'll see you in a couple of months.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank
See
you.
you there.